My name is Lucas Aoun. I uncover the most cutting edge health information on the planet, ranging from hormones, nutrition, supplementation, fat loss, biohacking, longevity, wellness, and a whole lot more. Welcome to the Boost Your Biology podcast. Are you a guy who's been constantly trying to boost testosterone levels but never seem to notice any difference in terms of your blood test results, or subjectively you just don't feel like you have high testosterone? What I'm going to do is take a look at 6 reasons that could be holding you back and preventing you from maxing out your testosterone levels as high as possible naturally. So reason number 1 is obesity. Now, some of you probably have heard this a million times over, but being obese is definitely unhealthy and also unmanly. Now, for some of you who have already seen some of my content, you will know the implications for carrying excess body fat and how that can lead to ill health and also affect your hormones. So we can see here that visceral adipose tissue, which is visceral fatty tissue, can actually drive up aromatase, which is the enzyme that converts testosterone into estrogen or estradiol. Visceral adipose tissue excess can also increase SHBG, or sex hormone binding globulin, and it can also increase insulin resistance and also decrease myogenesis, which is the creation of new muscle. In addition, we see that increased visceral adipose tissue or increased fatty tissue accumulation can increase pro-inflammatory cytokines, which can decrease GnRH or gonadotrophin releasing hormone, and also lower luteinizing hormone and follicle stimulating hormone, decreasing Leydig cell function, which can lead to a reduction in testosterone levels. And in addition, it can also increase lipoprotein lipase, which can also drive down testosterone levels. So we really need to be ensuring that we're not carrying excess body fat. And generally speaking, what I've seen in most of the clients that I've worked with and a lot of the guys that have joined the Limitless course, the healthy body fat percentage range appears to be around 9 to 14% body fat in general. This is for the average man to max out his testosterone. This is what we've seen, well, what I've personally seen in terms of blood work assessment and things like that. So in terms of the obesity being a contributing factor, in 2007, a study of 1,667 men ages 40 and above found that each 1% or 1 point increase in BMI was associated with a 2% decrease in testosterone. Now, in addition, a 2008 study of 1,862 men ages 30 and above found that waist circumference was an even stronger predictor of low testosterone levels than BMI. So they're seeing that waist circumference was an even stronger predictor of low testosterone levels compared to BMI. A 4-inch increase in waist size increased a man's odds of having a low testosterone level by 75%. For comparison, 10 years of aging increased the odds by only 36%. So we're seeing here, obviously, an increase in waist size increases a man's odds of having low testosterone levels by 75%. That is a dramatic increase. And in particular here, we're seeing that carrying excess body fat, in particular around the waist, is a very bad situation if you're trying to optimize testosterone production. Now, just a reminder, with the testosterone reference ranges, many clinical blood testing facilities and labs are now reducing the normal reference range for testosterone production and testosterone in terms of their blood work result. So we are actually not the same man that our grandfather was. And this is because they've actually reduced the reference range. They've actually reduced the highest level of testosterone, and they've actually reduced it down because the global average level of testosterone has decreased so dramatically that it's now reflecting in terms of blood work, and that most governments and health bodies are now reducing the normal range, which is absolutely ludicrous and ridiculous, in my opinion, since we know that having very high levels of testosterone actually leads to better health, better vitality, improvements in longevity parameters, and overall vitality. So that's something that we need to factor in there as well. Reason number 2 is poor sleep. Now we can see here, this study here was titled "Sleep Loss During Military Training Reduces Testosterone in US Army Rangers," a 2-study series. And in study 1, testosterone significantly decreased from roughly 105 to 79 picograms per mil, so roughly a 28% reduction after sleep deprivation. So similarly, in study number 2, following sleep deprivation, testosterone levels significantly decreased, approximately 25% reduction. And in addition, it was actually significantly noticeable that the subjects noticed some of the negative effects of low testosterone. And so the conclusion was that these data add to the growing body of literature showing that loss of sleep decreases testosterone, which may ultimately have a negative impact on physical training and performance in physically active or physically elite populations like the US Army Rangers. So clearly, poor sleep is a contributing factor. And so you're probably wondering now, how does poor sleep or sleep deprivation actually lower testosterone? So I've bullet pointed some of the key ways in which sleep deprivation can actually contribute to low testosterone. The first one is disrupted circadian rhythm. The second is the increase in cortisol levels. The third is reduced REM sleep, or REM, rapid eye movement sleep. The fourth is it disrupts the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis. The fifth is it affects testicular function. And the sixth point is that it can increase inflammation. So that is a really clear and succinct way in which sleep deprivation can actually lower testosterone. We can see the actual mechanisms by which sleep deprivation can actually lead to lower levels of testosterone. So a general good rule of thumb is to aim for around 7 to 9 hours of uninterrupted high quality sleep per night to max out testosterone levels. And if you want to look at some of my best sleep biohacks, that is covered in my Limitless course. You'll see that linked down below. Reason number 3 is a poor diet. Now, there are various dietary practices and protocols that can actually have a negative effect on testosterone production. And so I'll go through some of the ranges of different diets that can actually contribute to low testosterone levels. So the first one is the vegan diet. I've seen a number of men who have come to me with their blood test results, and they've actually been on a vegan diet, and we've seen significantly lower levels of testosterone on a vegan diet. In addition, men that go on an ultra low fat diet see reductions in testosterone. A very high carb diet or an ultra high carb diet can also lead to low levels of testosterone. A diet rich in refined carbohydrates can actually lower testosterone. A diet that is void in micronutrients is another factor. Extreme fasting diets, which involve extreme caloric restriction, can actually lead to reductions in testosterone. And also soy-based foods such as tofu and soybeans, this can also lead to lower levels of testosterone. So just a reminder, if you want to learn about the best dietary strategies to optimize testosterone production naturally, make sure you join the Limitless course as I go through my testosterone boosting grocery list. That's a comprehensive list of foods that are actually great and effective for increasing testosterone. Reason number 4 is having high serotonin and or low dopamine. Now, generally speaking, serotonin has an inhibitory effect on testosterone production indirectly. Now, firstly, high serotonin levels can actually raise prolactin levels, and prolactin essentially puts the handbrakes on testosterone production. And so what we know here is that there's actually 4 major reasons how serotonin or high levels of serotonin can actually lead to lower levels of testosterone. And we can see here the first point is the negative feedback loop. So serotonin plays a role in inhibiting the release of luteinizing hormone from the pituitary gland. Now, luteinizing hormone stimulates the production of testosterone in the testes, and when serotonin levels are elevated, they can activate receptors that suppress the release of luteinizing hormone, leading to decreased testosterone production. So that's point number one. Point number two is the effect on the hypothalamic pituitary gonadal axis. Now, elevated levels of serotonin can actually interfere with the normal functioning of this particular axis, disrupting the release of hormones that actually regulate testosterone production. Point number three is the effect of serotonin on the stress response. Now, high serotonin levels can actually influence the stress response by activating the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, which actually leads to the release of cortisol. So what we're seeing here is absolutely crazy, that serotonin can actually lead to an increase in the levels of the stress hormone cortisol by activating the hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis. Now, cortisol and testosterone have an inverse relationship, meaning that when cortisol levels are elevated due to stress, testosterone levels will see a decrease. And the fourth point is the neurotransmitter balance. Serotonin and dopamine are both neurotransmitters that play a role in mood regulation. However, high serotonin levels can actually, when relative to low dopamine levels, can actually reduce testosterone levels by affecting the dopaminergic prolactin relationship as well. Reason number five is a reason that not many men would be aware of, and that is a varicocele or a varicocele. Now, a varicocele is a medical condition characterized by the enlargement of the veins within the scrotum, which is the pouch of skin that holds the testes. Now, it is commonly found on the left side of the scrotum, but can occasionally actually occur on both sides. Now, many men that actually suffer from a varicocele notice that it feels like a bag of worms at the back of their testes. So the veins that actually drain the testes, it feels like a bag of worms, and it feels inflamed and sort of puffy. So varicoceles are actually similar to those varicose veins that have actually appear on the legs. And so you can see in a normal testicular architecture and functioning, there's healthy veins and healthy circulation and flow of blood. But in a varicocele, we can see that there's dilated veins, and that can actually significantly lead to reduced levels of testosterone. So having a varicocele is a stealth reason for having low testosterone. So that's something that large varicoceles can actually oftentimes be seen with the naked eye, or a patient can actually feel something resembling a bag of worms in their scrotum. Now, more commonly, however, a varicocele is only detected upon examination by a physician or your medical doctor. Thus, the best way to detect a varicocele is by careful physical examination by either your doctor or a urologist. Now, bear in mind that fortunately a varicocele is pretty easy to treat, and that we can see that surgery versus an embolization, the differences in recovery time, and also the effect on returning to normal sexual activity and normal testicular function. So actually, by correcting a varicocele, this can actually increase testosterone levels significantly in men that were previously unaware of actually suffering from a varicocele. So reason number 6 is exposure to endocrine disrupting chemicals. So things like